Right, now on Campbell's comments for the first time and the proper time, Amiee Cupitt joins me. Hello, Ames.
Hi, how you going?
Very, very good. Long time no talk, but you're going to become a regular now on Campbell's comments, especially for the next 4 to 5 weeks. That's for sure.
Fine by me.
All for a very, very good cause. We're here to promote what harness racing rehoming. So, while we're going on this, and this is an official question, what do you guys go by? Like down here, it's the Hero, so it's HRV Hero or the
Yep.
Hero. Yours is a mouthful. I always have trouble. So, what's the best way to recite it?
We just generally say harness rehoming or
Yep.
just rehoming.
Yep.
It's yeah, most people kind of know, put the two and two together when you say rehoming. So it's the easiest way to do it in an interview situation, I guess.
Absolutely, and it's done through Harness Racing New South Wales, and
hmm
I think you're doing great things full stop across the board. I see a lot of, I love what all organisations are doing, and I see a lot of the traction now because I follow you on Facebook and the likes, in the show arena, in the dressage arena, the same down here as well. The standardbreds are really starting to make inroads in a lot of places, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's so exciting. It's fantastic. So many things are popping up. Even just little local dressage clubs are starting to have little Standee Point awards, and Singleton Dressage Club got involved. I think it's Manning Valley Dressage Club this season have a Standardbred award, showing, jumping, Royals. A lot of I think Canberra and Sydney Royal have both introduced ridden classes into their programs, which is just huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And of course, the campdraft.
Yeah, and well, we'll get on to the campdrafts in a sec. We might just stay on the left field ones. I actually went to VASA, which is a Victorian Agricultural Show, and I think it used to be association, but I think they've dropped that off. Hence the reason it's VAS instead of VASA. But anyway,
Yeah.
we won't get into the technicalities of that. But there was actually a standardbred that won the side saddle section. So they had their
Oh, really?
yeah, so they had their leads and their off the track sections and things like that. But there was actually a side saddle, and it was won by a standardbred. So
That is so good.
yeah,
That's brilliant.
actually, Lauren and Shane Tritton, all the way from America, actually sent me a message overnight to make sure I can catch up with Cassandra Troon. So I will definitely be catching up with Cassandra when I get the chance to. But yeah, just something so unique, and I didn't actually know they had those classes, and it's a brilliant photo.
Yeah, I've got a few friends over in the US, and side saddle seems to be not a big thing over there, but a bigger thing.
Yep.
I've not really heard much about it over here, but that's awesome. That's really cool.
You've done a lot of things. Have you ever ridden side saddle?
No,
It's horrible.
not intentionally anyway.
No, I did it. I did it when I was a kid one day, and I was like, "No, you can. It's so out of control." I take my hat off to anyone that does it because it just doesn't feel right at all. It's so
Yeah.
wrong.
It's a couple of my friends who've tried it. They've said that you're so locked into the saddle, like you can't just kind of bail out if you need to. That scares me.
But you feel like you want to fall the side you got all your legs on. That's what I. But anyway, I fall when I have my legs on both sides, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yes, so don't
That
worry
part's not good.
about it.
But we are here thanks to Nutrien. You've actually got your Nutrien shirt on too,
I
and
do.
yes, donate. They're
Proudly.
Ringers shirts too, which are proud sponsors of this as well. We must make sure we mention Ringers a couple of times because I think it's
Oh,
great that they've
absolutely.
come on board, and we'll mention that horse in a sec.
Yeah.
But a lot of she's gone, but I reckon
Sorry, no, I'm just shutting the door to try and muffle the dogs.
Oh, they're
Sorry.
fine. They're fine. Don't worry about those. But there's a lot of traction being gained right at the minute, and a lot in part thanks to these brilliant retrainers that we've got that are taking these horses on.
Yeah.
Not only are they getting them ready now for the Nutrien Classic sale, which starts on, I didn't write the date down, but off the top of my head, I reckon it's about February 2 and completes on February 5.
Yeah, the pre-workouts are, I think, the Wednesday, and it goes through. I think the sales on the Saturday
Yep.
or the Friday.
Yep, that's right. And
I've
I've just
my
got
accommodation, but I can't remember the dates. So
I've got the full banner up there, and yeah, and effectively they're going to have three different classes. They have a freestyle. I forget what they call the second one, but basically it'll be Mark Barton will be given the horses disciplines. So just so the non-people, they could end up having open gates. They might have to drag a piece of plastic behind them on a rope to signify, dragging a calf and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that Mark will actually be doing, and Mark's the judge, so he's the one that will say what they are and aren't doing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the actual camp draft where they've got to go and cut the cows out and the rest. And I know this is getting very, very competitive, this part of it, but just the bit of feedback that I've been getting, Amiee, and I said to you we should have a chat to promote this up. You've had the same feel there in New South Wales.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
It,
It's so exciting. It's cool that people are starting to recognize the standardbreds for what they can do instead of being a breed where people know them for everything that they can't do. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah. People think
Yeah.
for a long time they've been treated as a trail riding horse. Maybe a junior kid show jumper dressage horse if they're lucky. Whereas now they're getting bigger. The feedback that I've had, I spoke to Brett Walsh, and I'm going to do an interview with Brett, and he's quite a lively character. There's no problems there. I'll probably be doing a couple of things with Brett going forward. He loves his horse, Lucky. He absolutely loves Lucky, and he just thinks he's the greatest thing ever. And he's going to be sad when he actually goes, because he just thinks he's just a lot of fun. Get that sort of feedback from these guys and the amount of time. Michael Wilson, we'll talk about Michael in a sec.
Yep.
I spoke to him yesterday for 45 minutes. And all he spoke was harness horses. Yet he's this full-time drafting. It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, it absolutely is. It's like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are starting to see the value in them, which has been my goal all along, is to promote the breed as more than you say just a trail riding horse. There's absolutely value in a trail riding horse. It's to get something that's so sure-footed and sensible and safe to take out. Where there's no fences to stop you. Certainly not just a trail horse, but dressage, show jumping. Now we've got camp drafting. The disciplines that these horses can do is endless. It's just we need people out there realizing that and seeing it and giving them a chance. The SPPHA Association, I believe you've got one down in Victoria as well, but the New South Wales branch up here are absolutely brilliant in what they do for the breed. And one of their sponsors, rider Megan Warwick, she her and her little standardbred Can't Touch This, the little I don't know if you've seen him, the little Pinto one, first ever standardbred to place and compete in an open working hunter class last year at the Sydney Royal. So they're really starting to get out there and they're really starting to show people what they can do, and a lot of people, like professionals, are starting to take notice of them. So it's fantastic. That's been my goal all along, is to show people what these horses are actually capable of.
And what Nutrien have done, getting into the camp scene, and these retrainers, Megan, Emma, Ian, Brett, Scott and Michael, they've actually taken it on board as well. Like Ian Laurie the other day, I went to Braidwood to do an interview, but I knew Bardo was busy. He said I'd be there early morning. Apparently Bardo's early morning and late afternoon, they're a pretty similar sort of thing. Apparently that's what they all said at the time. So I actually didn't ring him. And when I got there, you'd had a lot of rain in New South Wales. There was water everywhere. So all of a sudden Ian lost about 1,000 cattle. Sorry, I shouldn't say lost. Got to be careful how you say that. But for their camp draft. So they had a draft on that weekend at Braidwood, and he had 1,000 cattle lined up. So he had to go and outsource all these other cattle. When I rocked up, Ian doesn't like the media. He doesn't like doing these sort of things. And he said, mate, you've come all this way. He said, I'm not sending you home without an interview. So he goes and sorts out some of the people with the cows. Then he comes back and gives me half an hour. And this is a guy that's not that keen on the media. Loves horses, loves working with horses, and absolutely loves paper talk. Can't speak highly enough of him. But I think that's one of the things that I've found, they understand what the job they've got.
Yeah.
But they're doing it in spades, I think. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, no, it is. And I mean paper talk, like, talk about,
I'll put the video up over the top as we're talking right now. But what he was able to do on the weekend.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's just talk about just turning his hand to the next big thing. Like I think he was the only one out of the horses that didn't make it onto the track. But he's what a sensational little guy. He's just gone, right, this is my job now, let's do it.
And that's exactly right. Now, the video's actually playing right as we speak. So anyone that's not aware of drafting, and I'm not au fait at it by any stretch, but he's got to show control of the cattle. So actually behind him there's another group of cattle. He's had to single one out, and then he calls for a gate. And then after that, I'm in trouble. Now, we've got to say the camera footage on this is a little bit rough, because Bardo took this with his iPhone because he understands the importance of trying to get the message out there. So whatever he can do. But this horse, and it was interesting, you said there before about being sure-footed. He was he was getting into it over his fetlocks into the dirt. Like, it was pretty heavy going because they'd had a lot of rain. But he just wanted to work it, and and you can see the points will come up in a minute on the score table. But he just looks the part. He doesn't look like a standardbred out there.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just, like the stamp on the neck singles him out as a standardbred. But I think when me and you were talking the other day, there was a massive field that he was up against, wasn't it?
300. There was 340 horses and 300 horses. Now, someone will be there and I'll say I got it wrong. I believe there was 340 novice horses and 300 maidens. But he actually went around in 2 of those. But he actually ran 7th in one of the finals, and it will come up in a minute. I'm not actually sure. I should have probably wrote that down. I'm not sure if it was a novice or the maiden. So he even was taking on other horses. But so he's ran 7th, and to be totally honest, they actually split the fields in half. Once they get over 150 horses in one draft, they'll actually split them in half. So he was effectively that might be wrong. It might be 200. Doesn't matter. But either way, he's run 7th in his group, which is just mind-blowing.
That's phenomenal.
At his second outing. That's the biggest thing about it. It's his second time out, and it's just ridiculous how well he's gone.
I know, and I think it was his first time out. He only missed the final by a point or something like that. Like, he's just really taken it by the horns and is gone, all right, let's go, let's do it, let's chase some cows. So, I'm very, very, very excited to see what happens.
It didn't actually say what class he was in then, and I should chase that up and know that it doesn't matter. They just love him, and they're dead set looking forward to it and the likes. And we said there before about Michael Wilson, so I haven't done anything with Michael. I'm going to be doing an interview in the next day or two. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to catch up with him and do an interview with him. But he has become on and been the 6th rider. We had Megan, who had to do a swap, so she came up at last minute, but she's taken it up the bull by the horns. But Michael has actually got, I suppose, the most decorated horse in the field.
Oh, he's no duffer.
Yeah.
He's
Montefiore.
Yeah, 100 and something. He won over $500,000, didn't he?
Yep.
I can't remember the exact number, but I've got it written down. 149 starts, 31 wins.
Yep, and competed in the Inter-Dominions Miracle Miles. And I did a video. It's not on there at the minute, but I did do a video with Ringers and promoting what Ringers are doing, and we will promote them in a sec too, because it's well done what they're doing. But I said to them, like, the times this horse could run were fast. Like, they were mind-blowing how fast they were.
Yeah. It's so exciting that he's going to be there as well. Like, it's really good having horses. I like that we've got horses in participating in this right the way across the spectrum. Like, you've got Paper Talk, who's unraced, all the way up to Montefiore, that's 150 odd starts, and it's showing people that you don't have to get something unraced to be successful in other disciplines. We've got, Mondo Sports is 100 starts. De Caesar was 80 something starts. These horses are, they had a good go round. They weren't just raced once or twice and, gone, maybe this isn't for them. These were quite successful horses. Quite a few of them really did win. And so it's really cool seeing that, because a lot of people say, I want an off-the-track standardbred, but I don't want anything that's had too many starts, because I think people have this idea that, they're going to be broken down or something like that. But it's just not the case. Like, these horses get the best of everything, and when they finish, they're responsibly retired and they go into a new home. And I think Montefiore is going to be a real poster boy for just how successful he can be across the 2 disciplines. He's had an incredibly successful racing career, and then he's going on to compete at the Nutrien campdraft. Like,
and the one thing, like, actually, while we're on Montefiore, like I said, Ringers have come on and they're a sponsor, so they're a major sponsor with Nutrien, and with the Tamworth sale, they're their clothing sponsor. The shirts both you and I are wearing, and actually my hat is a Ringers hat as well. And if you want anything like apparel and that, make sure you get in touch with those guys. But to be able to get people like Ringers and that on board with this horse, people have got to be aware how good this horse is. It's not like people are hanging a hat on him and all the rest. This horse probably, some people say, he deserves a nice retirement, but he's actually going to love what he's doing because of exactly that what you said. He's such a resilient horse, and he's a competitive beast.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Overachiever.
Well, it's funny.
You know,
Michael,
sometimes-
Michael said to me yesterday. One of his biggest problems is he said I've got to explain to him that we don't have to get to the cow. He's got to slow him down because he's such a racehorse. He's just got to slow him down a little bit. He said that's my biggest problem at the minute.
Oh,
So
bless you.
yeah, so it's terrific that sense.
No, it's really cool. And I mean, like, it's, you know, some horses, they do just want to chill out in a paddock, but a lot of horses genuinely want to work.
Yep.
You know, it's sitting around in a paddock isn't for every horse. You know, like I know quite a few horses just sort of around in, you know, my equestrian life beyond this. It's, they'll meet you at the gate and they go, right, let's go. It's time. Let's work. They enjoy being involved. And I think Monoteeth is probably one of those types. You know, they've just got that work ethic about them. And a lot of standardbreds do. They've got a really good work ethic, and it doesn't matter what they're doing, but they genuinely enjoy being around people. And, you know, they want to hang out. They want to play. And the cool thing about standardbreds is that so many of them, they just adapt. They don't have baggage. They just go, okay, well, I'm not a racehorse anymore, so let's do this. Okay, cool. This is what we're doing now. And that's one of the pros of a standee, is that they do just take everything in their stride and just go, all right, let's give it a go.
I've got a friend in another life. I'm a horse dentist as well, and she all of her life has had off the track thoroughbreds, and please, people take off the track thoroughbreds as well, because they you know, they're such a beautiful animal as well. They're off the track. Anything off the track, it deserves, you know, another crack and all the rest. And I would imagine they'd probably be looking at something like this draft and thinking down the same lines. But all of her life she's had those. She suddenly bought a standardbred, and she said, and she goes to me, "How long has this been going on?" She doesn't have to lunge him. She doesn't have to do anything. She can ride him 3 days in a row, then not touch him for 2 weeks, and then go back and get him. And she says, you know, she's 60-something years old, and she's like, why is it taking me this long to find this out? She took it because she was starting to slow down, but she's like, she shouldn't have. She should have been doing it a lot earlier, because they are such a beautiful animal.
And they are, and that's a big bit of feedback that I've had in doing this a lot of the time. Is, you know, I've had some pretty big sort of dressage pros come to me and say, how have I not known about this sooner? And again, it's down to that stigma, and that people just automatically write them off before they've seen them. And I think last time we spoke a little bit about their type changing as well, which I think they've become a little bit more refined. Like with the blood coming over from the States, they tend to have a more refined type.
Yep.
And that's starting to attract people, and people are starting to sit up and notice and go, hey, these horses have something.
Yep.
So,
well, I saw Paper Talk the other day, and I picked him straight away because he's got a brand. You don't have to be silly. Like, there was a lot of horses there, but if he wasn't tattooed like for love, you couldn't have picked him, because he looks like a draft horse, a camp draft horse. You know, he fits that bill. It's not camp drafting is not going to be for everyone. Exactly the same as show jumping is not going to be for every standardbred and all the rest. But just gives so many more options, doesn't it? So many.
It's so good, and you know, and they can canter.
Yep, they canter easy.
Initially, I spoke to Mark, and he was sort of asking me about the canter, because I think some of the trainers were a little bit worried about the canter, and I think pretty much every single competitor had them cantering inside of a week.
Yep.
You know, the standardbreds and the canter thing, you know, yes, some of them do struggle with it, but they can do it. They can do. You just have to watch them in a paddock, and you go, oh, they're coming in for dinner, they're cantering. You know?
Yep.
And it just takes them a little bit longer, just because, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if you said to a triathlete, hey, you know, go swim 4 laps of butterfly, they'd struggle with it. Doesn't mean they're not fit, doesn't mean they can't. It just might take them a little bit longer. Different muscles, you know. A lot of standees are used to that lateral movement. They're trained not to do it. Doesn't mean they can't.
And that's one of the feedbacks I've had. I'm not sure if it was Brett or Ian. One of the guys said to me that, you know, basically all their life they've been taught to do this. This is they're rewarded for going around a track, going fast. That's their, you know, not necessarily, you know, given chocolates or that, but that was what they were taught to do. Now all of a sudden, you know, someone's on their back and they're breaking sort of all their rules. It's not something that comes so quick. These guys are accomplished horsemen and all the rest. It can be done. There's no problems there at all. They just they talk about taking that little bit of time. But I've seen footage. I saw Brett White jump on one of them straight away, and he was straight into a canter. Like, there's no worries there at all. They are terrific horsemen, and they're great horses.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, all credit to them. All credit to these guys for giving these standardbreds a go and for getting so much out of them so quickly. Like, it's absolutely brilliant to have these guys on board and to really showcase what these horses can do, because that's what I keep telling people, they can do it. And for some reason with standardbreds, people only focus on what they can't do. You know, you look at off the track thoroughbreds, all they know is to go fast. They don't know how to work in a frame and things like that, and people teach them. And for some reason people seem to have a little bit more tolerance of, you know, what a thoroughbred can't do versus tolerance for what a standardbred can't do, if that makes sense. All these horses can learn another life and a new way of going. It's just about having the patience and putting that little bit of work in, which you would have to do with any horse getting it from anywhere. You know, you're going to have to put work in. But for some reason, standardbreds seem to attract this idea that they can't do this, they can't do this. It's never, oh, they can do this. Yep. That's in my experience anyway, and that's what I'd love to work to change that, just so people can consider them, because they're just brilliant horses. They really are. We've
got a horse here she was a mare. She was I think she won 4 or 5 races. I can't remember her actual name. I know her stable name's Megan. She's a hero horse, my daughter, and is retraining her and the rest. She's had 2 foals. She's 14 years of age, and absolutely, Amy, you could rock up. You can ride, because I've seen the ribbons behind you, but if you said you want to go for a ride, you'd be on Megan. You don't have to know how good you can or can't ride. You know, she's just this lovely horse. She'll get a new home very, very shortly, but she's just such an obliging mare that you know, just hasn't made it in the breeding barn, and so she's just and look, she may only be a trail ride horse. I don't know. She's a little bit overweight, so once she trims up, you never know. She might be able to do anything, but right at the minute. But anyone comes and they just jump on her, and what you said there. Every time they go to catch her, she just walks up to the gate, says, "Come on, let's go," and away she goes. Yep, and she's open to any ideas. My wife, I don't know how long it's been since my wife's been on a horse, be close to a year, and she rode her the other day. So they are brilliant. You actually told me you've recently acquired one.
I have. I got a pony under the Christmas tree, so to speak. I've wanted one under the Christmas tree since I was, I don't know how high, and it finally happened this year. So I'm very, very excited. So,
what are your ambitions with him?
Her.
Sorry.
Yes. So I've got an army of mares, apparently.
Brave.
Sucker for punishment. So I'm hoping to make a little dressage pony out of her.
Yep. Good.
You know, like we spoke last time, a bit of a dressage diva. So she's gorgeous. She's so beautifully built, and she's got such a beautiful, refined little head. I think she's probably got a future in the show ring as well. So we'll do a little bit of that. But you know, me with my horses personally, I like to figure out what the horse enjoys doing. So yeah, we'll see what happens over sort of next 12, 18 months and go from there. See what she likes to do.
Well, yeah, Ames, I'll let you go, but I am going to. We'll put this post. We recorded it Wednesday, but I think I'll put it up tomorrow. I'll just see. But there's plenty more. But I will look forward to seeing you. One in Tamworth. If I don't talk to you before that, we'll definitely be there at Tamworth.
Absolutely.
And we want all eyes on there. We want people to go to the nutrienequine.com.au website or the rehoming website. What's your rehoming website there for New South Wales?
It is www.harnessrehomingNewSouthWales.com.
Very, very good. I might have had that. I actually might have that there. I might just see what happens when I click that button there. No, wrong one. That's actually Auctions Plus. We didn't need that one up. That's one of the other ones. But we will. I've got things everywhere. I'm not the most organised person when it comes to things, but we will definitely catch up there.
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram as well, so you can follow the Bouncing Ball and find us that way as well.
And keep up to date with all the interviews, everything that's going on. But once we're at Nutrien, we'll be doing a couple of crosses and definitely promoting what these guys are doing. So,
fantastic.
Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing
Thank
you in
you.
Tamworth if I don't see you beforehand. But please, everyone out there, get behind New South Wales Harness Racing Industry Standardbred Rehoming Company. Basically, that's the whole long word of it. But Amy and the rest of the crew, if you want to rehome a standardbred, if you want to get a standardbred to rehome, get in touch with Ames and the crew. I would imagine you've got a band of a lot of people behind you helping you out. So please get in touch and touch base.
Yeah.
So, Amy, thank you very much.
Alrighty. All right. Thanks, Paul.